guys, you are going to absolutely love this conversation that we just had with my guy, Tim Rhode. He is a self-made entrepreneur who went from grocery clerk to financially free by the age of 40. After selling 2,500 homes and investing in 100 plus properties, Tim retired early to pursue his passion of helping others. He founded a nonprofit, One Life Fully Lived, to equip people with life-changing tools, and co-founded GoBundance, which is how I get to know him, a mastermind for high-achieving individuals seeking purpose and adventure. Tim is also the co-author of Tribe of Millionaires and the Quitters Manifesto, which I got to write a chapter in, and has been featured in numerous podcasts. He now lives with his family near Reno and continues to inspire people to live fully and get the goods in the woods. Here is our guy, Tim Rhode. Hello and welcome to the Power Up Your Life podcast powered by GoBundance Women. I'm Mandy McAllister.
And I'm Kelly Resendez.
Today we have such a treat. We have this incredible soul, Tim Rhode, with us. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's my sincere pleasure. Thanks for having me, ladies.
Oh, very excited to dig in with you. But before we get started, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey in your own words.
Okay. Well, I'm older now, but but I'm a kid at heart. I guess that's the best thing to say. I'm 66 years old, going on 8. And yeah, and I choose to live as a youngster. I think there's too many old people that are just boring, so that's not me. I was born and raised in a little town called Portola up north of Truckee, California, up Lake Tahoe. Barely graduated high school, never went to college, retired at 40, started getting the goods in the woods to help start the GoBundance. Had my own nonprofit called One Life Fully Lived, made my fortune selling real estate from about mid 80s to 2000. That was my vehicle of choice. Sold a lot of real estate, invested a lot in real estate, tapped out into the big short around 2006. And I haven't worked since, in my mind. And maybe I'm working now. So, yeah.
Digging into the stuff that really matters. I think that's the thing that Kelly and I notice a lot of the organization, the women's organization that we get to lead, same as yours, that, you know, once you figure out money to a certain aspect, life becomes about so much more than just that. But, you know, you formed these two incredible communities, the One Life Fully Lived and GoBundance. Talk to me a little bit about your progression and your growth and what a big community has meant to your growth.
Okay. Well, having barely graduated high school and come up as a blue collar individual, I think the key word is work ethic, and kind of being a gym rat of no matter where I am, just focusing on things that really matter to myself, my family, the community, and the world. And whatever I've chosen to do, I just put my heart and soul into it, let the chips fall where they may. And I bet many of your listeners can relate to that, because the people who are listening to this podcast, you're willing to do the work. You're willing to do what most others won't. And instead of saying, doggone it, all these obstacles in my way, most of us are figuring out how in the heck are we going to get around this quote current obstacle and get to what really matters into our life. So I think that's what makes all of us unique and special in our own ways.
Yeah, that's amazing, Timmy. Why would you, if somebody's out there, we've got a lot of people that have been doing it on their own, right? Maybe they've created success, but they've been doing it on their own. What do you see the power of a mastermind really is in their life?
Yeah, I think I'll give you a good example. There's a guy named Andrew Cushman. I started a business with him called DAPT, David, Andrew, Pat, and Tim. And Andrew is our horse. He's the one who's out there finding these apartment complexes and stuff. And if it wasn't for our tight-knit community, I never would have found him at a time when my income had gone down and I was kind of looking for what's next and did not want to do it myself. So because I had helped create this community of high achievers, I think it just helps make it easier for you, to find your people that can help you do what you do better, but maybe you can work together with them. And that's what I found with Andrew. um, I I no longer wanted to strive and go find things myself, which is what I had done from 86 to, let's say, 2005. Um, but I found Andrew, who is ninja at finding deals. And then I realized, well, David Osborne can qualify for the loans. A lot of people know myself. A lot of people know, like, and trust Pat Hyben, and we can help get investors. So I think it just helps you do what you do better. And I challenge you. There was a great book called Who Not How. And
Mm,
that's what I'm talking about here,
yeah.
is not having to do everything yourself. And most of us are, quote, lone wolves. We want to just try and do everything ourselves. And man, that, for me, that just doesn't work. So
We see that a lot in the women's division too, and the feeling of loneliness that comes from being that wolf and thinking that you need to handle everything yourself. You got to ask for help. That is so incredibly important. I think, you're an unconventional guy, and I think just in general, entrepreneurship leads to a lot of unconventional thinking. I'm curious, in terms of the things that you know to be true. What's something unconventional that you are so certain about that most people might disagree with?
um well, I may ruffle a few feathers here, but let's just be as gentle as I can put this to say college is not for everybody.
Ooh,
Okay.
love it.
And yeah, and I think I'm a good example of that. And by the way, my dad was an education, and his best years were his college years. He was a Yale leader at USC back before the 1950s, and he was a Yell leader at the LA Coliseum with 100,000 people there. And those were the best days of his life. And all my time growing up, all I ever heard about is you got to get that degree and you got to get that master's if you really want to go somewhere in life. And I simply was not cut out for education. I realized that when I was like 12 years old and I was learning the periodic tables for elements. And I'm like, what in the heck? Why am I learning this? There is no way I'm ever going to use this. And my intuition said, you know what? I'm just not going to pay attention here. And I'm going to learn basic math, basic reading, basic English. I'm going to learn the basics and how to communicate. Um, and I purposely learned nothing else in school. And and my intuition and my unconventional mind, all I want to do, and I'm not going to look out the window, but I just look out the windows to this day and look at mountains and just imagine myself out climbing mountains and doing cool stuff outside. And I remember being 12, 13, 14 years old, sitting in the back of the class, gazing between the mountains and the freaking clock. When's this thing going to end? And this torture is going to end, because for me, that just learning wasn't there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think separating learning from growing, because what I know about you is you have a growth mindset, right? And you're always growing and always contributing to make the world a better place. How has that supported you? Because I know I completely agree with you that college is not for everyone, and there's so many alternatives, right? But what you can't really do is just stay stuck either in a fixed mindset, or you won't create the level of success that you've done. So how have you grown?
Well, what I think, what for me, it was learning what's right in front of me for what I need to get to the next level, if you will. I had to study to pass my real estate license. I had to study to get my broker's license. And then I wanted to go from just being a great salesperson to and owning a few rentals, single families, duplexes, land in the path of growth. Then I wanted to learn more about commercial, so I took a CCIM course. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And for my pea brain, let's be nice, it it was so challenging, and especially somebody that didn't go to college and didn't learn study habits and stuff like that. And same thing with brokers, same thing with the real estate chest. But it was something um, I I knew to get to the next level, I had to go through this 3 month, 6 month, 9 month course to get to the next level. And I was able to do that. But for, just to, and I probably would have gone to college to do dummy math and dummy English and all the things I really didn't study in high school. There's no way I was going to sit through that and listen to some, professor drone on about shit that's just not going to help me moving forward. However, to get my real estate license, to get the CCIM, that really helped me. And you're absolutely right. I've always had a growth mindset, and I'm always learning what's next. I spent a lot of time in the backcountry, and I don't want to die. So I learned avalanche awareness, backcountry wilderness survival, backcountry first aid. And I've done a lot of things, kind of like to be a professional guide in the backcountry. So A, to keep myself safe, and B, to make sure that if it goes awry, I'm the one when everything's going nuts, and it's you really need to have your wits about you. I want to be able to take a step back, analyze, and fix the problem. And in every single measure of my life, I want to be that person. You know what I mean? Whether and this goes back to selling real estate. When deals were gonna blow up one way or another, somebody had to just kind of take a step back, analyze the whole situation, and coolly and calmly fix the problem. It's not whose fault it is, who started it. It's this is where we are. Let's take a step back, analyze, fix the situation.
I love that. I say a lot, you've got to put truth to the problem. To solve any problem, you got to put truth to the problem. And especially when something gets super emotional, you got to go back to the spreadsheets to put the more truth to it. I think, while we're on this track of growth, of unconventional thinking, in the vein of conventional wisdom and conventional advice that you see happening in business and in leadership, what is the single worst piece of advice that you've ever gotten that falls under that conventional wisdom vein?
Yeah, I'd say when you're just keep going, and I don't want this to sound wrong, and I guess I'm just going to say it. Say yes and figure it out later. I think that is sometimes not the best advice. Okay. And it has to go with what I was thinking about. Sometimes you're going down a train track, and it may not be the right track for you. And sometimes you're going to, just going, yeah, and so things like statements like just pick any direction. You can't, it's better than staying stuck. Let's go back to what I said a minute ago. Perhaps the best thing you can do is just get quiet, ask, talk to, and this goes back to having a great tribe around you, having this personal board of directors that you can lean on. That's where GoBundance Women and GoBundance comes in handy, is to have people that know you, love you, care about you, and just pick up the phone and say, you know what? I may be going down the wrong track. And what I would say to that person, why don't you write down what you think you're going to do? Why
Mm.
don't you write down a few options and let's get on a call and talk this over. Okay. So,
Jeez, Timmy, you would have saved me a shit ton of money if I would have reached out to more people in the last few years over investments I made.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I invest with Andrew Cushman as well, and Mandy and I are partners on multiple things. But I think you nailed it. Is a lot of us have been so self sufficient for so long, like we're the lone person that we just kind of made decisions in a just we've just made decisions. I came off a call with one of our members this morning that was like, my biggest mistake was that I made decisions on my own instead of seeking counsel. And so really taking that deep breath, and I agree with you on the, say yes and figure it out later. If we say yes to everything, that's where we get out of alignment, right? We've got to be more decisive about how we spend our time.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say something about GoBundance and GoBundance women and about the power of a mastermind. And and the power of having friends, and you said it, Mandy, to tell you the truth. And
Oh,
there was a time, it was 2011, and I go back to Andrew Cushman. I was doing a one sheet with David Osborne and Pat Hyben, and my income had gone down. And I used to coach real estate investors, and the person I was coaching for, if you had a pulse and a credit card, they take your money, and it just doesn't work for me because I have this weird thing called integrity.
yeah.
It just didn't jive with me, and they literally kept giving me clients that had no money, no time, and they're supposed to buy 5 to 10 homes that year in a declining market. So I quit for that. And right around that time, my income had gone down. I was going over my one sheet with Pat and Dave, and my income was less than my expenses, and they were just, to use a Hyben word, flabbergasted. And and they called me out and they said, Tim, this is bullshit. What are you going to do? Are you going to flip homes? You're going to go back to sell real estate? And I was thinking, I want to flip homes. I don't want to sell real estate. And it's what I said before. The one of the people that I coached with for this company called foreclosures.com, my best client ever was Andrew Cushman. He was amazing. But I want to go back to what my point is David and Pat had the courage to pull back the layer to have me to us together figure out, you know what, this isn't working, you're on the wrong track, you need to change that track. And I was wise enough after I got, and I got to be honest, when they said that, how I kind of whined about it. I was like, and nobody likes to hear you're not fully crushing it, that things aren't where you want them to be right now. But I give them a lot of credit. And any of you in GoBundance women that are in a pod, please be the David and Pat that Tim needed. And think about that, and have the license to tell people something they don't want to hear but need to. And
Right.
yeah.
Preach, Timmy.
I love that. I mean, that's Kelly and I hold space for each other in exactly that way. She has told me that is not your buy box. Why are you running down that rabbit hole, Mandy? Think about it, you know? So I think that is the culture that we've really worked to create, that we're continuing from the GoBundance side of things. It matters so incredibly much because, you can't, unless you're measuring it, you can't manage it, right? So you got to get to the truth. You got to get to the numbers, the one sheet and the map, the things that we do to measure where we're at It's so incredibly important. And one of my favorite things is that we look at being 100%er, that all of your bills are covered by passive income rather than just chasing net worth for net worth's sake. Thank you for setting up the culture in that way. It matters a lot to me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
Well,
it. That, you know what I look at that like? It's like we're all fisher people and we have fishing lines in the water. And that 100%er is passive income streams. And it's just every day working on making sure that nobody takes the ball and runs away and you have to go back to doing something you don't want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my goodness.
One other thing, after you've figured out all the money stuff and the passive income stuff and heard the bad news and figured out another path to keep the passive income going, the thing I know you best for is your heart and your giving back. And I always say you get two arms for a reason, one to pull yourself up and one to pull other people up with you. And man, do you pull other people up with you. Talk to me a little bit about what it was like and what the impact piece is for you in One Life Fully Lived.
Well, it was something I started approximately 2010. It was before GoBundance, and I just feel like I'm a blue collar person, came from nothing and made it, and just saw it's getting tougher and tougher for the average person to live the life of their dreams. And let's just call it the American dream. So I wanted to come up with something. We called it the One Life Roadmap, and it's available on Amazon. Number One Life Roadmap, and we made it for teens and adults. And it's just a great, how can I put it? Just something to help people get the foundations of making a great. And we want people to focus on what's your vision, how will you fund it, your relationship with yourself, and who's your posse, who's your mentors, and how to be healthy in your mind, body, and spirit. So it's really, in my mind, the things they should be teaching in school but don't. So that was, yeah. So. And that's what One Life Fully Lived was all about. Kelly, it's funny. I can't remember who I was with recently. She said, we need to have a reunion, a One Life reunion.
We totally do. There's not like, I showed up in Napa to speak the other day and the gal was like, I met you at a One Life event in Long Beach. And, it's definitely near and dear to my heart too. It's so important that all of us make contribution a part of our formula for abundance. And that's a big thing at GoBundance that we really try to do. So Timmy, we could talk to you forever, but we have to kind of come to an end. And so before we kind of just share a little bit of the feedback, what is one thing that we can do to support you the most besides anyone listening? Check out GoBundance and GoBundanceWomen.com just to, find out how a mastermind might be able to help you. But what can we do to support you, Timmy? What do you need help with?
I got nothing. But I do want to say something. Pat Hyben gave me the best gift like 3 or 4 years ago. He told me, Tim, you were always so, in his words, transactional. And it was kind of like another what the heck? And he said, think about it. When you sold real estate, you've told me the stories. If somebody didn't list with you, they were dead to you. And when somebody, people come into GoBundance and they tell me how wealthy they are, I'd say, good, give my nonprofit 10,000. And in my mind, they were kind of, I thought less of them because they didn't choose to support what I'm so supportive of. So what's fascinating, ever since he said that, it's great to ask for help, but it's also, I have nothing to sell at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just feel like So when you said that came to mind, and I just think what a great gift he's given me. And there's a few people in my life that I've passed that on with, just
Yeah.
because I know their personalities. And I
Yeah.
know, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, is One Life still a nonprofit active?
Yes, it is.
Well, everybody that's listening, I'm just going to say it for you. It's a wonderful nonprofit. We're making a big impact on people in inner cities and all over. So take time to do that. But you've been amazing. The biggest takeaways for me before we wrap this up are really, it is that power of proximity, and having those people around you that are going to have honest conversations. The other thing that you didn't say, but you emulate, is you had a vision for how you wanted to live your life, and you went after it relentlessly so that you can be in the mountains and you can be in this freedom. Yeah, there you go. Your mountains are calling you, and you were like, I'm not gonna subscribe to the normal programming of you should do this and you should do that. And I've just always been so grateful for our friendship, and you are always in my heart. And so thank you for joining us. What about you, Mandy?
Oh my gosh, so much. Tim, your heart is the first thing I see whenever I get to talk with you. The things that I took away from our conversation today, that plan that Kelly was talking about. If you just have a plan and you go look just as far as you can see, that's when you're going to go further than you ever imagine. And I also really agree with the idea of you've got to look at the picture as a whole. Say yes and figure it out later works, but then you're committing to saying no to a bunch of other stuff, right? So fully understand the impact of the stuff that you're doing, you're saying yes to. You got to zoom in and zoom out. So, Timmy, what is the best way for anybody listening to get a hold of you?
You can email me at tim@timrhode.com. Rhode is spelled RHODE, like Rhode Island, or just call me 209-403-3533.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love having individual conversations with people who are trying to better their life. And that's where I'm not very good on stage, don't
What
like
a
to be on
gift.
stage.
What a gift. And
But
I
I
mean, we have so
love
many investors and people starting off in their career and whatnot. So thank you for that gift.
pleasure.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the Power Up Your Life podcast powered by GoBundance Women. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with anyone who needs to get the goods in the woods, like our guy, Timmy. Make sure you're checking out Power Up Your Life now if you need resources to power up your business and your life. We will see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Timmy. Mwah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, ladies. Appreciate it.